All right. Well, it is 10:15, so we're going to go ahead and get started. My name is Tanya Bulette, the counseling coordinator for the San Diego County Office of Education. And this webinar for today is Miramar College, and we're very excited to have Chantal Hernandez, who is the Senior Student Service Assistant, here to share information and program details offered at San Diego Miramar College. So Chantal, I'm going to go ahead and pass it off to you. And they do have one raffle prize, a bundle of goodies that we will provide to one lucky participant at the end of the webinar. So stay on the whole time. All right, Chantal, it's all yours.
All right. Thank you and good morning, everybody. I appreciate your interest in Miramar College, and I appreciate you also just being on another Zoom. You know, I think at this point, a lot of us have felt some type of Zoom fatigue, but being here today and wanting to learn about Miramar College, for students, and anybody close to you that might be also interested in Miramar College, I think is very important, especially right now. So I did want to give you all a shout out for that, and hopefully everybody's keeping warm. I don't know where everybody's neighborhood is, but it's a little chilly today when I woke up, so I'm drinking my coffee, so trying to keep warm and ready for the day and this presentation. So I just wanted to give you all a shout out, and hopefully everybody's, maybe drinking some coffee, something warm, or keeping warm if it is that you had a chilly morning like mine. But my name is Chantal Hernandez, and I work at the outreach office, and I've been working there for about 2.5 years, I would say, or a little bit over 2.5 years. Time goes by really, really fast, but I've been enjoying working a part of that team. We have different presentations, events, and activities, that we lead and help coordinate as well. To help students, community partners, teachers, counselors. So it's different every day. It's different every week, which makes my job very enjoyable. But I did want to, before we actually go into information about Miramar, I did want to go over a COVID-19 update. So everybody, keeps asking, what's the status on your campus this semester, next semester. So right now, to give you an idea as to what's going on in the fall, we have returned on campus with limited services. So even though we are not 100% back on campus, this semester we've used it to transition to, return to campus with the hope that, that we will in the spring open up more in-person classes and increase the amount of services that we have in person. Right now, we have about 20-25% of the classes are in person and the rest online. And then in terms of services such as, outreach and financial aid, counseling services such as those, we have limited in-person hours. So like from 9 to 3, for example, we have in-person servicing, and everything outside of that, we continue our online, through email, through for example, for us, for our office, we have a live view chat, and then other offices have other forms of communication. So to kind of give you an idea as to that. And then in the spring, depending on how things are, we'll increase the amount of in-person and the amount of, in-person also support services that we will be offering. So that is the plan. Of course, things do change constantly, and we're always receiving weekly emails from our district that keeps us updated as to what's going on and maybe what the next step is and what the next plan is. But for now, that is the plan. And so that's the status of our campus, to give you an idea as to that. But we're still available to students. We're still available for the community questions, anything like that. It's just the communication is going to be either online or in person, given the hours. All right. So Miramar at a glance. So we are the fastest growing community college in Southern California. We began with just bungalows and a very small area. And we've grown a lot, and we have 70 associate degrees and 90 career education certificates, and over 40 different specific programs. So there's a lot that we have to offer. We do continue growing, even though, if you've ever visited Miramar College, a lot of people still say you still have that more like quiet and smaller campus feel, even though it is a large campus. And students that come to our campus or have experienced our classes, pre-pandemic, that's what we would keep on hearing. So, every campus in our district has its own programs, its own feel, but something that people say a lot about Miramar College is that it's that feeling, it's that vibe. The transfer path is very popular. Over the last couple of years, the amount of transfer students has increased. And of course, locally, we have San Diego State, we have UCSD. And so those are our most popular schools. A lot of students go into those, but there's a lot of students that, go into outside of the state, or may go farther up north. There's a variety, some going to private institutions, so there's a lot to choose from. But yes, those are our local schools, and they are very, very popular. And actually, recently there was a study, and we were actually ranked in the top 450 of colleges for return of investment, and ranked 11 in the public community college in California. So they looked at different elements. So they looked at how much a student paid out of pocket, how much is an institution actually cost. They looked at a student's income after graduation. They looked at different factors to ultimately come up with this ranking. So it really is a testament of the quality of education that we offer, our faculty, and then also our support staff, because, we go hand in hand, in the classroom, outside the classroom. We know students need help. We know that students need a guidance along the way. So that's just something interesting that I wanted to include. All right, so the San Diego Promise program. So this program is not only to help students financially. Yes, you can receive up to 2 years of free tuition and health fees, which is awesome, which is great for students, and for students that are eligible. They also receive book grant for books, and that is awesome. But we also want to make sure that students are completing their classes and ultimately finishing and achieving, what they intended, which might be a certificate, transfer, degree, whichever it may be. So we've given them access to peer mentors. I'm very lucky because that's one of the things that I like about my job is I work with peer mentors, and they're current students, or they went through the community college system, and now they want to work alongside the Promise program, and meet with students and lead and organize different events throughout the year, whether it be academic events like study sessions, or more social events. We did one that was focused on self-care and plants, if anybody was into gardening. So it's a little bit of everything. We want to make sure that students know that this is a community. It's not just a program where, hey, we're just going to pay for your classes. So that's something really fun, the events that are put on throughout the semester. And then we also have counselors that are specific for the program. Right now we have 3, and these are actual counselors. So opposed to peer mentors who are students, and they can provide resources and information, and at least guide students to the correct office. Now these are actual counselors. We have 3 of them, and they're familiar with the program. They know the requirements, the progress reports that are needed every semester. So they're helping students along the way meet those requirements and make sure that they stay in the program, because it's not guaranteed that students stay in both years. They do need to actually continue with requirements so that they're able to move on to that second year. And then in terms of eligibility, a student needs to be either a first-time college student or identify in any of the following groups. So foster youth student, veteran of the armed forces, formerly incarcerated, undocumented, any of those. And then they must also graduate from high school within the last year, or obtain, the equivalency of that. They must be a California resident or AB 540 eligible, must enroll and maintain at least 12 units, and then maintain a 2.0 GPA. So we want to make sure, again, that students are, progressing, and they're moving on to, that second year, and ultimately where they want to be, with their education. So in terms of applying, they of course need to apply to the actual campus first, and then they need to complete the program application. So right now for fall, that hasn't opened up yet. So our college application and the promise, they go hand in hand. They open up at the same time because the students do them very close, after each other. So typically it's, the end of January, beginning of February is when our college and the promise application open up for the fall. So that's around the timeline that we have. We don't have an exact date just yet, but that's typically the kind of like the time frame. So after a student completes the college application and the promise application, they do need to complete, the FAFSA or the DREAM Act. Even though this program isn't income based, they're not going to factor in income. It does help. This is a state, funded program. So, it does help also with students that that may be eligible for book grants. That is how we determine which one of the students from the cohort will be eligible for book grants. It's the students that are most at need financially, and we use that information for that. And then last but not least, the promise orientation at the very end. That's the final step. That's where students attend an orientation. They sign the promise contract, which essentially reviews all of this information. That way students know, this is what this program entails, and this is, what to expect. That is the final step for students to be a part of the program, and continue to that first semester. And so, we've switched gears and we've done the orientations now virtually. So we all offer multiple over the summer to be flexible with students and make sure that students can attend and they don't miss any information for that. So we're still offering them. We're just now offering them virtually. All right. So for our program, so we offer programs that are in the top 9 in-demand sectors in the region. So these sectors fall in advanced transportation, logistics, business and entrepreneurship, health, life sciences, and biotechnology. So these are very in demand. These are where the jobs are at. This is where a lot of students go into. Given the program that they're in, they have that opportunity. They have, there's a need. And so, a lot of students, end up going into these fields and making, an impact in those areas. And it's pretty exciting for us, because, it just shows, again, the quality of education, the instructors, that are, teaching students, they've been in, the field in different ways. They're giving back in different ways in the community. So it's just a testament to that. And then it's a snapshot of our schools. So we have many degrees and certificates, like I mentioned before. These are our 4 schools, and these are only some of the programs. These are not the only ones that we have, but I did want to at least give you all, a snapshot of this. We have the School of Liberal Arts, and we have everything from anthropology, art history, and English. And then we have also the School of Business, Technical Careers, and Workforce Initiatives. A lot of our career education programs, such as aviation, automotive, all of those are in this school. So, like I mentioned, we have aviation. We also have entrepreneurship. It's a great program as well. We have a paralegal program, business, and much more. And then also in the School of Biological Exercise, Physical Sciences, we have biology, allied health. Allied health is popular with students that may be interested in the nursing field. Even though we don't have a nursing school, a lot of students that are interested in that path. They go into allied health, and they complete the requirements needed, and then they move on to actually a nursing school. So that's a popular way that students go into a nursing field or area, allied health. And then we also have biotechnology, we have exercise and nutritional sciences. You can even, become a personal trainer, or, your dream of being a yoga instructor. We have so many that I have not been able to mention here. We have so many different, certificate and degree options that I can't fit into into one slide or even one presentation, or else we'd be here for a very, very long time. But we also have the School of Public Safety, probably one of our top most well-known programs. A lot of people that we speak to, they know about, for example, the fire protection technology program, our police academy, EMT, all of that. We also have that to offer our students. And like I mentioned, these are only a few. Hopefully sparks your curiosity to look into the full list. And then these are only some of our most well-known programs. So in the area of transportation, we have the automotive, we have the diesel technology programs. So students that might want to go into working specifically with a specific dealership like Honda or Toyota, or if they want to go into learning just like general automotive knowledge, they can do that. Diesel, they have different certificates. They have 20 certificates. So, students that might want to go into, the construction equipment and knowing how to inspect and repair, the engines and understanding all of that, they can go into the diesel technology. And that's another, very in demand area as well. In the sciences, we have biotechnology, the medical lab technician. So, students that want to go into, helping doctors diagnose and treat, different diseases through, different lab tests. They can go into that. The medical lab technician is a little different because there's a separate application that's needed because it's another popular program. And they do it through like a lottery system. So you apply, and of course there's different requirements that go into you applying. So that's a little bit different, but biotechnology, if you apply to the college, you can go into that program. But MLT is a little different, and it is another popular one. And then for public safety, like I mentioned, we have fire technology, EMT, police academy training. Fun fact, we actually have a fire tower on our campus. So, when we would do campus tours before, sometimes it would be, lit on fire, and students would be training. We want to make sure that students have hands-on actual, practice with the different techniques that they learn in the classroom. It's pretty cool. There's the fire truck and everybody's, suited up. So that was something always fun to showcase when we would walk around campus. And then we also have aviation. In aviation, a very common question that we get is, do you fly with your students? Like, do you actually have planes, aircrafts that are leaving Miramar College? And no, we don't. We are a ground school, so we have simulators, we have the training in the classroom, the knowledge, in order for students to then use that knowledge to do the flight training elsewhere. And that's just like a question that we get quite often. But whether students want to become pilots, whether students want to learn how to repair and put together an aircraft engine and all of that, we have those paths. And we actually even have, fun fact, we actually have drone classes. If there's like a certain certificate that includes those classes, which is called remote pilot, actually. That's how it's labeled. But we've had students that are flying drones and on campus for a class. So that's something fun as well. And again, these are only just to name a few of our programs, but these are the ones that a lot of students know, or we receive a lot of questions about. And then for transferring, of course, San Diego State, we're in the service area, so we have the transfer guarantee for that. There are, different requirements that a student needs to meet, such as, the 60 units, and making sure that they are following like the coursework and any other details in order for them to guarantee. It's not just, just as long as you're a student, you get guaranteed. There's other steps that you need to make sure that you complete. So we always recommend that students meet with their counselor, their transfer center. They're always up to date with any changes that might be, coming up, for the year. If there's any change in any type of requirement, or if there's anything that they're missing, it's important that students, during a stressful time when they're trying to transfer, that they are aware of any details or any requirements that they may need to follow. Like I mentioned, UCSD is a popular path. There is not a guarantee program like San Diego State. There is the university link though, because but this makes it a little bit different because it is income based, and there's of course other requirements that go along with that, so that students can become connected to UCSD, and look into that path. And again, the Transfer Center is the best resource to stay up to date with any requirements that go into these programs or these agreements. For example, for the transfer admissions guarantee, for the UCs, we get the questions about like UCLA, and UCLA doesn't have a guarantee. UC Berkeley doesn't have a guarantee. However, if you apply, if you're planning to apply to any of the UCs, if your student is wondering like how do I go about doing that, they would have to apply, choose one campus. It's not a guarantee to all campuses. They would have to choose one of the campuses that are participating, and of course follow the requirements that are needed in order to be eligible. There is a separate tag application that also needs to be done. So there's a lot of little details. So I always say, hey, plan ahead. Make sure that you're not waiting to the last minute to meet with the counselor, especially the transfer center. That's what they're there for. I feel like students don't always utilize the resources that are on campus. Maybe they're scared to like actually ask a question, or maybe they don't know what to ask. And we have awesome transfer counselors. So that's something that I always try to encourage. So, speaking to your students, making sure that they're aware of that. All right, so I did want to also highlight the different ways that we are connecting with the community. So whether a group, a school has an event coming up, so such as this one, for example, if there's anything else coming up, please invite us. We are always willing to provide a presentation. We're always willing to provide just information or advice or experience to help your students or anybody close to learn about our campus. And also we have a community request form. So if it is that there's not a specific event, but more so, hey, I have a class and I want you to show them about Miramar College and the programs, and talk about the different benefits about attending community college, anything like that. Maybe it's a group, maybe it's a class, not related to a specific event. That's also another option. It doesn't have to be an official event for us to attend. We are also open and available to do those. And then we also have a monthly information sessions. So we have about 2 every month. We have 2, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, there's one and next week, and another one I believe the following week. And so these are quick 30-minute overviews of the program, support services. We go over the steps as well of enrollment. So if any student would like to connect with us through there, we also have Q&A at the end. So sometimes we end up having a couple of students and we're able to just answer all of their questions because it might be a smaller group. So that's another benefit of attending. And then throughout the semester, we continue to collaborate with other offices on the campus, and we offer different topics. So we always want to make sure that we're collaborating and we're working together with the different offices that we have at Miramar College in order to help the students that might be interested. And we also have an email list, and I do have The way to join that, we have a newsletter every month. And so we include any updates that we may have, any events, anything really that is important for us to promote, or if there's any opportunity for students or any events or activities, that's where we actually email. So don't worry, we're not going to send you like 5 different emails. I try to always stick to that one and include information that is needed. I know sometimes people are like, oh, I don't want to subscribe to something else, but please don't be worried. I typically just stick to one, if anything, maybe 2. I will be honest, but it has good information, and we always want to make sure that our community partners and our students are informed, and they're in the know of anything that's coming up, so that they have that opportunity, especially remote, to talk to us, live versus through email or other ways that might be that might take a little longer to respond. All right, so that's all that I have for today. I know that we have questions as well, but I did want to let you all know that there's different ways to contact us. We have our email, and then there's the promise email as well if you have questions specific to the program. We also have our live chat. So on our website, we actually have different office hours, and we actually have staff that are just on their computer, waiting for the questions to come in, and we're responding to those throughout the day. Like I mentioned before, we have our email list as well. So I encourage you, if you haven't already, to join our email list and receive our newsletter. And then we also have our Instagram. We have our Instagram for Miramar, and then for Promise as well. The QR code is actually for our outreach account, but another great area to receive information. Also just learn about new programs, learn about students themselves and what they have to say. So there's different ways to contact us. So please do, if you do have any questions, or if you want to refer students also to those different ways of communication, you can as well. But I will stop talking and I will hand it on over to Tanya for questions.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Chantal. So we did have one question. How does San Diego Promise apply to early grads, seniors that graduate in first semester? Do they still qualify?
Yes, they still qualify. So in the next couple of weeks, actually, the district is going to provide us information as to the application for students that might be graduating early and they want to start in the spring. So what I recommend is, if you have students that are in that timeline and they are interested in the Promise program, that and if they are planning to start in the spring, they can email the Promise program, let them know that, and then they're going to have a list of names ready, so that when that information does get released, they send that to the student so that they're ready to go whenever it is that application is launched. And they're also up to date with anything that they have to do. But if it is that they are planning to graduate and then begin in the spring, then that means that they should already, if they haven't already, start the enrollment steps. So make sure that they have their application ready, that they they meet with the counselor to know what classes they need. They also need their student education plan, so the outline of classes that they need to take for that first semester, because then they will be ready to go for the spring, and they'll be ready to register and all of that. So I do encourage students, if they haven't already, to get started on that. So hopefully I answered your question.
Yes, and I don't see any others. Does anybody have any more questions? In the meantime, if you're adding a question to the chat, we do have a raffle prize from Miramar, and it's a really beautiful portfolio, a nice mug, water bottle. So we are going to pick one winner. And so Zarette, and she did put in the chat that if your name is called, if you could go ahead and email Zarette, her email address is right there, your mailing address, that would be great. But first, to make sure that you're here, if you could put your email into the chat, that just lets us know that you're on board here. All right, so Zarette, who is our winner today?
Today's winner is Jessica McKenna. Congratulations.
Yay, Jessica. Woohoo. So Jessica, can you just put in the chat that you're here with your email address? We'll give you a second to do that.
We got it.
Yay. All right.
Congratulations.
So Jessica, if you could email Zarette your mailing address, we will send that off to you. All right. And I'm not seeing any more questions. So I think you covered it all. It was very thorough. We really appreciate your time with us today, Chantel. And if you have questions, her contact information is there, but we will also be putting this recording as well as her slide deck and other resources onto the SDCOE School Counselor website. So look for that information next week. We'll post it then. All right, everyone, have a wonderful day.